bigger news, let me go ahead and get to our first picture. We'll pop it up here, Corey. The Boston Celtics have got it done. They won their now 18th championship in winning in 5 over the Dallas Mavericks. And I mean, hey.
Oh, good for you.
I hate to say it. It was, a record setting, the 18th. They now take over the Los Angeles Lakers as the most championships ever in NBA history. And it was got to be one of the most least watched. I mean, who gives a shit titles since, I don't know, the Lakers when they won the bubble title and nobody was watching, when Toronto, again, shout out to Drake, when they won their little title, when Golden State had everybody injured, Clay and KD. I mean, no one watched, no one cared. You did it. You got it done. So, congratulations there. I mean, there was just no story, and that's something I always lecture every sport about. If you don't give us a story, we just don't care. We don't get into it. It's just not that exciting. I mean, I remember when they were trying from game one to try to pump this up of like, oh man, the Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks. It was like, okay, what about Kyrie? Is Kyrie going to get back at Boston? It's like, well, Kyrie's always had beefs with like 9 teams now. He's like, Drake at this point. He's got plenty of enemies. There's no story there. What about, Luka winning a title? Well, we've seen a foreign guy win 1 year in Dallas. That's really not that exciting. What about Boston winning another title? Boston, they're kind of jerks. Their fans could be actually racist and assholes. There was actually Mike Breen. I don't know if you caught that. There was one, it was game 4 or 5 where Kyrie falls down to the crowd and Mike even goes like, oh, the audience just said something that was completely disrespectful. So it either started with an N or an F. Either way, that's Boston there for you. So just there was nothing there, and no one really got into it, and it was kind of sad because it should have been a record-setting big deal, NBA, all that stuff. No one gave a shit. I didn't give a shit. I mean, the good news, let's start off with that. Good news is that you did have one of the greatest playoff runs, even though it was kind of handed to you. The Boston Celtics, good news, you were 16-3 in that playoff run. That's only second to the Golden State Warriors in 2017, considering one of the greatest teams of all time. They were 16-1 versus your 16-3. You were 80-21 for the season. That means overall you had a .792 win percentage. That's the best ever, other than the 85-86, considered the greatest Celtics teams of all time. That's actually just behind them in overall win percentage when you include regular season and playoffs. You're the Vegas heavy favorites to repeat next year, so that's really good news. You have all your draft picks. You have your top 4 guys under contract. The one you have to extend is Derek White. I think he'll get that done. Again, the bad news is, though, just nobody watched, nobody cared, and no one really gave you any respect for it because a plethora of reasons, including the star embarrassing himself, and I'm going to get to that here in just a second. But I mean, again, bad news. No one watched because it wasn't impressive. I mean, you beat who was in front of you, and I mean that's all you can do. But that had to have been one of the easiest. That's why I had the picture up. I mean, easy road, fool's gold. I don't really know what to say. You got handed the easiest path to a championship in any of the major 4 sports I've seen in a minute. I mean, maybe arguably in NBA history. I mean, the fact is you beat the Heat in the first round without Jimmy Butler. Who cares? You beat the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell towards the end, who was their best player. Then you go on to beat the Pacers without Halliburton at the end. I think Siakam was hurt too. And the only reason the Indiana Pacers were there is because the New York Knicks and Milwaukee Bucks and the Sixers were all hurt. So, I mean, you went through a completely weak, injured, hurt Eastern side that was already the weaker conference, and then you get to go against the 5th seeded Dallas Mavericks, who then had a hurt Luka Doncic because he's too fat. Kyrie didn't play up to his level. No reason they were there in the first place because Denver blew it 2 rounds ago. So, I mean, to review, you beat 3 injured teams. You then beat the 5th seeded team in the West that really wasn't supposed to be there because Denver ended up laying an egg. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you did it, though. I mean, you got it done. So, in the end, that's what you can kind of hang your hat on. But like I said, nobody watched. I want y'all to kind of understand that nobody watched this finals, and why should we have? I mean, but the numbers are there. It was 11.3 million average, which is pathetic. To give you an idea, just 5 years ago, the Golden State Warriors were averaging like 20. So, I mean, damn near half of what it was. Game 4, I mean, a lot of these were blowouts too, which didn't help besides the lack of story, was at a damn 9.6. That's the worst in recorded history since the bubble. I mean, that's the only one you actually got under. Getting under 10 million in the NBA Finals is almost impressive if it wasn't quite so sad. So, I'm really not trying to shit on Boston fans or the franchise, I am going to shit on Jason Tatum. But, I mean, overall, you still have a lot to prove. You can repeat next year. You're the Vegas favorites to repeat next year. Now, obviously, through the draft, free agency, a lot of stuff's going to happen, and we don't know. You kind of proved yourself, but we still have a lot to see against you. Go against real competition, have real adversity, and then maybe if you go back-to-back, you'll get your credit. But right now, It's partial credit, man. Most people are not really putting Boston up, even with those records. You know, most people are rolling their eyes at like, oh, man, they're right up there with like the 2000 Lakers or the 87 Lakers or the 85 Celtics. And we're all just like, get the fuck. Not even close. Not even sniffing it, at least by the eye test. So, yeah, there you go. There's that. But the worst part of all this, and I'm going to get to the video of it here, in an MVP who needed identity, Jason Tatum, who also did not win the Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown took that from him, and I thought deservedly so. But this is a guy who I've been saying for a while, and I said it the last time I was on here, you know, what do you do? Like, what's his identity? What is something he can cling to? What does Jason Tatum do?
What would you say you do here?
I mean, he's not top 5 in anything. I'll repeat it again. Jason Tatum was not top 5 in points. He was not top 5 in rebounds. He was not top 5 in assists, blocks, steals, field goal percentage, three-point made, three-point percentage, MVP voting, nothing. He was always a very good player and could do a lot of things great, but had no identity. So this finals was his opportunity to be like, here I am, here's my team, it's my turn now, I'm the champion, we can put the whole, face of the franchise and put the league on me, and instead he plays a complete egg. And just in the weirdest, we'll just play the video. So after the celebration, he decided to copy everybody but himself when he came up with his championship celebrations. And it was weird and it was gross. Corey, if you can hit this for me, it was just, ugh. This is right after he won the title.
Everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
What they gonna say now? What they gonna say now?
What they gonna say now? What they gonna say?
It's a real feeling. We did it. We did it! Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
It's on the resume now. What a difference that will make in their confidence.
Oh, it certainly will, but
copying the Kobe photo. I mean, the whole thing was just, does Gen Z, does everything have to be a remake with this generation? Can y'all do anything original? But I mean, God, the whole thing doing the Kanye and the Angel and then the Kevin, I mean, it was gross. It was weird. It was unnatural. It was forced. And it was the last thing he specifically needed to do, because all we've been saying for a while is, who is Jason Tatum? What is he about? He finally gets his moment. Instead of coming up with anything, come up with something shitty. Just make it original. He decided to copy everybody else's statements, and it didn't fall well. Everybody just rolled their eyes. Everyone almost universally was like, what a douchebag. That was kind of my girlfriend, other people, we all got that same douchebag chill you get on your arm when something's just really cringy and gross, and you're just like, ugh. It just didn't work, and better luck next year. I hate to say that to a team that just won an NBA title of like, well, you'll get them next time. But the fact is, nobody watched, nobody cared. You had way too easy of a road. The star player embarrassed himself publicly, copying 4 different iconic moments, having none of his own in the last 24 hours. It just had nothing to it. There was no je ne sais quoi. I'm more excited about the draft and free agency than I was about the NBA Finals. The ratings were very low. But it happened. It happened. You did it. You did it.
Oh, good for you!
We'll move on. I want to go completely